Okay. Have you ever wondered where the idea of the foster care came from in the United States? The idea first began back in the Bible and the Torah. The early Christian church believed in caring for their orphan children. They would put orphan children in the homes of widows and would pay the widows to take care of the children. The Quran also believes in taking care of their widows and orphans. From cheap labor to good intentions, the foster care system has gone through many changes. The idea of a foster care system has been around for many years. To help everyone become more familiar with the history of the foster care system, today I will tell you about the history from the 1500s to the 1800s, the 1800s to the 2000s, and what the foster care is like today. The first step in exploring its history is beginning in the 1500s to the 1800s. According to fine law, English poor laws in the 1500s allowed for placement of four children into indentured servants until they were adults. This law was imported into the United States in colonial times. In 1636, Benjamin Eason was the first foster care child in Jamestown colony. This was the beginning of the foster care system in the United States. Indentured servant service was better than the alms homes, but it also had its downfalls. Now that you know about the history of the foster care from the 1500s to the 1800s, I will tell you about the history from the 1800s to the 2000s. As stated by the National Foster Parent Association website, in 1853, Charles Loring Brace began the free foster home movement. He wanted free homes for the children that were living on the streets. Brace advertised to families in the South and out West, asking if they would provide free homes for these children. Because of this movement, the orphan train movement began in 1854. This movement took children from New York to out west to find homes. 3 states began a movement that got state government involved in the foster care home placement. Before 1865, Massachusetts paid the board of families that would take in children too young for indentured servants. In 1883, Pennsylvania was the first state to pass licensing laws. These laws made it a misdemeanor for families to have 2 or more foster children in their homes without a license. South Dakota began giving money to the Children's Home Association. The Children's Home Society was created in 1893. Supervising of foster parents and their homes started in the 1900s. Paying financial aid and supporting these families began. Keeping records of the children in the homes also began. For the first time, children's needs were considered before being put into any home. State inspections of foster homes were now supported by the federal government. Services and supports for the biological families began to help them get their children back. Now that you're familiar with the history of foster care from the 1500s to the 1800s and the 1800s to the 2000s, I will tell you about what foster care is like today. Today there are 3 different types of foster homes. The first type of foster home is a single family home. This is where a family with 1 or 2 parents take in up to 6 foster children. Some families have biological and adopted children already, some do not. Foster children can get adopted through this system. The foster child's biological parents, if alive, have to sign away their parental rights before a child is eligible to be adopted. The second type of foster homes are group homes. They do have a history of abuse, but are now more regulated and monitored to keep this from happening. The third type of foster homes is kinship care. This is where a member of the child's family that they already know takes in a child. The family member is provided with financial and emotional support, just like a normal foster home, but the benefit is that the child already knows the family member. You have now heard about the history of foster care from the 1500s, the 1800s to the 2000s, and what it's like now. As previously mentioned, the idea of foster care has been around for many years. The idea of taking care of a child without a home is a noble idea. The beginnings of foster care system did not have a great start, but it has come a long way. Foster care has improved over the years, from children being put into indentured service, to being a way to any home that would take them, to now being regulated and providing help to their foster families.